In this video, I'm going to talk about Jim Harbaugh's most revered assistant coach, defensive coordinator, Don Brown. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. The title of this video is, Hey, Jim Harbaugh, how long is Michigan football going to go with Dr. Defense? Please like the video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. So a couple of things. For those of you who followed me over on my original channel, you'll remember that I opened up my videos with the victors, and right now I'm opening up with Let's Go Blue. It's the off season, and based upon how the season ended for us, I'm not feeling very victorious. So I thought that Let's Go Blue would be a more appropriate opening for these videos. I want to thank everyone who watched the last video and who supported it, and all the new people who subscribed. I want to salute you all. As one of my favorite content creators says, my first 3 videos on this channel didn't really pop, but that video did, and I think it's a testament to, well, I did add a new widget to my channel, which I think might have increased the visibility of that video, but I think it's a testament to just the passion of the Michigan fan base, and how much the Michigan fan base loves our football program and wants to see the program do well. I was surprised. We had one Hawkeye fan come in to watch that video and comment, but I was surprised that no Buckeye fans came in. But I know they're coming, so just get ready for that. A lot of comments, a lot of reaction to that video, and I just want to thank everyone who helped get that video a lot of viewership and recognition. I was going to tape this video yesterday, but as you know, the great Kobe Bryant unexpectedly passed away in a helicopter crash. So I was just so, that was a cloud that kind of hung over my day yesterday as a sports fan. So I couldn't shoot this video yesterday, and I'm still processing it. It's going to be something that will be discussed for a while, but the Mamba mentality, I'm sure he would want all of us to go on and do what we need to do, and to just go ahead and kill it the way that he would. So let's jump into this video, which is going to be related to probably the last video, and it's going to ask some questions. It's going to ask some questions about the direction of the Michigan football program under Jim Harbaugh in this offseason, going into the 2020 year. And this video is going to ask some questions about probably Jim's most revered assistant coach, and my conclusion will probably surprise you, but please let me know what you think in the comment section below. So I'm going to share another article. There are articles coming out about Michigan football weekly in this early off season, and this one basically asks if our program is a quote-unquote second-tier program, and there's evidence that it is, though it's kind of on the cusp of turning that corner and going into the top tier. So I'm going to leave that in the comment, in the description box below. So let's jump in. So one part of the Michigan football program, or should I say one phase of the Michigan football program that's gotten a lot of scrutiny is the defense, which has been led by Dr. Defense, Don Brown. I love that nickname. And Don Brown took over for DJ Durkin in year 2 of the Jim Harbaugh era. So that would have been 2016 when Don Brown came on. And I remember when he came on, I remember him looking at Jabril Peppers and saying, I'm going to make him a linebacker instead of a safety because he can play. He's got the versatility and the size to play that position as well in my Viper defense. So Don Brown, just like Jim, inherited a lot of Brady Hoax players. So Chris Wormley and Ryan Glasgow and Channing Stribling and Jordan Lewis, and so he had a veteran group that first year. And so, when I think about Don Brown and I think about what Don Brown has done thus far, this might surprise you. And feel free to shoot me down in the comment section below if you want. But I think overall, Dr. Defense has done a good job. Now there are a few exceptions to that. I'm thinking most notably about last year's 2018 trip down to the Snake Pit, where Urban Meyer's last year, and where Dwayne Haskins just basically played pitch and catch with Chris Olave and those guys against Don's defense, and they just shredded it with wheel routes and crossing routes. I thought that Don mis-schemed in that game and didn't adjust. Though once again, when John U. Bacon came to DC, 2 months ago to present his new book, he did say that Chase Winovich, after that game, said that they did switch to his own coverage, but Ohio State still was able to shred their defense. But I thought that, it didn't look like that to me. I thought they stayed in man for that entire game. And, I remember Brandon Watson. I remember Dwayne Haskins really, really picking on Brandon Watson, and Brandon Watson getting abused over and over and over again. And I just thought that Don mis-schemed in that game. He didn't anticipate, like a lot of the Michigan defensive coaches haven't done probably since the early 2000s. They've been unable to anticipate what Ohio State would do against them in that game on that big stage. So that game stands out to me. Obviously, this year's Wisconsin game, where our team went up to Madison, the Badgers basically shredded the defense and beat the defense up, in that game. Jonathan Taylor, I believe it's Jonathan Taylor. He ran wild. Jack Cohn, had a great game, and Camp Randall, has traditionally been a hard place for, excuse me, for the Wolverines to go and play. I remember, Tom Brady's senior year, which was my first year in graduate school. They were able to go up there and get the win. But since then, it's been a hard place to play for our team. But the defense got beat up in that game, so that game stands out. But I think, and maybe there were a few blown coverages in this year's Penn State game. But in general, I thought that Don has done a decent job. And this will surprise most of you all, but I would stick with Don for now. And I think the team's biggest problem has been the offensive side of the ball, which ironically and coincidentally was supposed to be Jim's wheelhouse. Jim played quarterback. Jim was calling the plays for the first 4 years of his tenure here. So I think the offense has let the rest of the team down. Don's defense won that Iowa game for us this year. In that game, I think we won that game like 10-3 or 13-3 or something like that. And in that game, our offense basically blew a fart for that entire game. And that entire game, I was on the edge of my seat just thinking, okay, Iowa's going to come back and steal this one. Iowa's going to come back and take this one from us. And that's based upon how the offense was playing. Shea couldn't move the ball. We've heard a lot about now about maybe how Shea didn't prepare enough in the offseason for that. But Don's defense won that game for us. They kept sacking Jarrett Stanley. They kept moving Iowa back further and further. And we won that game because of the defense. So I think that's worth noting. Now, the argument could be made that was that wasn't one of the top tier programs. They didn't have an Ohio State or a Penn State level offense. That's true, but still, the defense won us that game. And and again, they played well in spurts against Penn State. And aside from a few blown assignments, where Josh Metellus, I hate to single him out, where he was caught in coverage on KJ Hamler, I thought the defense played okay. They played well enough to win the game, as you saw. But one of the things I want to get across in this video is that no defense can be put back on the field repeatedly over and over and over again and can be expected to hold a team to 0 points or few points, much less a team like Ohio State's or a team like Ohio State or a team like Penn State. You can't keep putting your defense back on the field over and over and over again against an elite offense without scoring points and expecting them to hold that team to little or no offensive production. Especially when they have quarterbacks like Justin Fields, running backs like J.K. Dobbins, and offensive lines like the one that Ohio State had this year. And when you're facing wide receivers like KJ Hamler from Penn State, you can't expect your defense to stand up and play an Iowa game against teams like that for the entire game. It just can't be done. And it has to be demoralizing for a defense to have to go back out on the field when the offense isn't producing, and when the offense isn't creating points, and when the offense is turning the ball over like it did early in the season. That has to be demoralizing, and it has to be very difficult. And you also have to think about defense is part of the game is mental and also physical. Defenses eventually, even really good ones, if they're on the field long enough, they'll wear down. So no defense can hold up for the entire game, and that Iowa game was kind of an anomaly, in my opinion. Let's see. One thing that's plagued Jim Harbaugh's teams, and in this instance, the defense, over the years, and it seems like more so recently, have been penalties. And I hate to call out Khaleke Hudson here. These are college kids. They're out there trying. They're going to class. They're up early lifting weights, all those things. But two plays stand out to me from Khaleke Hudson. Against Army, his offsides play, which gave Army a key first down. Somehow we escaped that game and won it. But Khaleke Hudson did the same thing against Ohio State. The defense held early on, and we put them in a punt. They had to punt, and once again, Khaleke Hudson, who was one of our defensive starters, lined up in the neutral zone again, gave Ohio State that first down, and I think Justin Fields threw a strike either on that next play or the play after that. But again, so that's a discipline thing. So your players in key games can't shoot themselves and the team in the foot, and that's happened under the Jim Harbaugh tenure, and that's happened with to Don's defenses a couple of times. So there's a discipline thing there as well that's plagued the team, that I think that they have to get under control going forward. So, in summary, I like Don Brown. I like old curmudgeon-y coaches. I like listening to his interviews during the season. I like listening to him speculate and philosophize, and I like him talking about just the defensive lingo, and I like hearing him talk about the X's and O's, and I think he knows his stuff, and I think he's a good coach, but I think that the defense has been put in some bad positions by the offensive side of the ball, especially this year and 2 years ago when we had the instability at quarterback, when Wilton Spate got hurt and when our offensive line play was shaky. And I think that the right quarterback and the right offensive production will kind of balance this thing out and even make the defense a little bit better. But we need more production on the offensive side of the ball. So before I close, I want to go back to the Lloyd Carr era, because Lloyd Carr was the coach when I was a student at Michigan, and I noticed that before Lloyd got ran out of town by the fan base and by everything, by the BCS, all of that, Lloyd didn't always have great defenses. He had good defenses. Some years the defenses were better than others. But Lloyd always had nice complementary offenses to go along with his defenses. And he had offenses that could put points on the board, and offenses that his opponents had to respect. So he had Tom Brady, he had Drew Henson, he had John Navarre and Chad Henne back there throwing the ball for his last years. And these were quarterbacks who could throw the ball deep and throw strikes to David Terrell and Mario Manningham and Adrian Arrington and Braylon Edwards. And you had running backs like Mike Hart and Anthony Thomas and those guys. And so football is about balance. You have three phases: offense, defense, special teams. And you need all three phases to work together for the good of the team. And our defense over the last couple of years has been put in some pretty bad positions. So I'm going to stop this video here. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Please like the video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Go Blue, and also always remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.